All right, I'd like to welcome you all here tonight, or this afternoon, whatever time of day it actually is. I'm Greg Berger, Mayor of Gloucester, and we are here tonight to present and talk about the Lindsey Coolidge Award. So this year's recipient is I guess it's no secret, it's already announced, so I'm not, no spoilers here. It is the people of Gloucester. When we met as a committee to talk about this, we felt that in our 400th anniversary, it was an appropriate I guess, group of people to present this award to. But I'd like to have Senator Bruce Tarr join us up here, us, meaning me so far alone. Bruce Tarr join us to talk about the relationship between the city and the state and the Community Preservation Act and tell a little bit background about it. So Senator Tarr.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon. It's so great to be with everybody here at City Hall and to celebrate, and to celebrate so much of what makes Gloucester wonderful. And what makes it wonderful is the fact that we work in partnership together for so many important priorities that we all agree are treasures, not only for our community, but treasures to be shared with the rest of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and in many cases, the rest of the United States of America. And part of the reason that that partnership can be so successful is that there is a relationship between the city with regard to allowing a surcharge to be placed on the tax bill so there'll be resources available, but also having the Commonwealth of Massachusetts be ready to match those dollars in varying percentages depending on the year so that we can put those two things together and we can have the community say, these are the things that we think are important, and these are the things that we're going to target resources for. And the state recognizing those priorities and coming in and providing the additional resources that are needed to make their protection, their preservation, and their strengthening even more successful. And it is an incredible partnership and an incredible way for us as a Commonwealth to recognize that communities know what is special within their borders. They know what makes a difference for their residents, and we're able to have that partnership. And of course, I was reminded by my good friend Jack Clark just a little while ago about the days back in 2000 when we passed the Community Preservation Act in the legislature. And when we did that, Jack he reminded me I had a last-minute amendment, and it's so reflective of the whole concept of the Community Preservation Act. I actually amended it so that historic fishing vessels could be made eligible for Community Preservation Act funding. It was the very last amendment that we adopted. It was the very last amendment that we adopted before we passed the bill, but again, so emblematic of treasuring what is special in our communities and then working in partnership. And of course, today we also think about the fact that there is another leg to that stool. The Commonwealth is one, the municipality is the other, but the citizenry is the third. And the fact is, in so many of the projects that receive Community Preservation Act funding, either through the state or always with the state and with the community, there's another component of local philanthropy that makes those projects even stronger and even better. And there is no community in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that is more emblematic of the willingness of its citizenry to come forward with philanthropy to be able to contribute to those efforts. And of course, this afternoon we recognize our good friend Lindsey Coolidge, who has been so representative of what it means to be a caring, committed, diligent member of the community. And Lindsey, it's always a pleasure to thank you and recognize you for that. So I'm pleased to be here with you, Mr. Mayor. I know we have several members of the City Council and so many others to be able to really celebrate on this December afternoon the incredible place that we live, and to do it in the 400th year that we've been writing history together, and to remember that that history has always reflected partnership, and our bright future depends on that partnership moving forward. And I have to say, Mr. Mayor, what a wonderful thing to be giving the Lindsey Coolidge Award recognition to the entire city. Because we always talk about the fact that Lindsey is emblematic of what it means to be a good citizen. And we do that because we know he's inspirational and he sets an example. And today, this afternoon, we recognize the fact that that example that he set has been embraced by every member of this community. Couldn't get any better than that. Thank you all. It's great to be here tonight.
Thank you, Senator. So next up, I'm going to have Sarah Grove, who's a member of the Lindsey Coolidge Committee, talk a bit about Lindsey and the committee's activities, and introduce the rest of the committee.
Thank you, Mayor. So the Lindsey Coolidge Philanthropy Award was created to honor and recognize contributions made by Lindsey Coolidge through the Dusky Foundation to organizations and non-profits here in Gloucester that benefit all citizens of Gloucester. So I know we already gave you a clap, Lindsey, but I'm giving you another one right here. Because we non-profits couldn't do what we do without the generous contributions of people like Lindsey. So the award is the City of Gloucester's highest honor for philanthropic giving, and it's awarded to individuals who demonstrate substantial generosity, following in the footsteps of Samuel Sawyer and, of course, Lindsey. This year was a little different, as you will hear, and in honor of Gloucester's 400th anniversary, it's not given to just one person, but all people in Gloucester. I'm Sarah Grow, and on behalf of the members of the Lindsey Coolidge Philanthropy Award Committee, and also John Bell and Farah Courtney, we would like to thank Mayor Berger, thank you, for the opportunity to serve. It's been an honor and also a pleasure to hear about the history of the CPA and its impact on this wonderful city. And I would now like to call John Bell up, our former mayor and also committee member, who's going to talk a little bit more about it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure to see everyone. The CPA and its invitation among the people of the city of Gloucester was turned down a few times. And that's not necessarily a bad thing unless you're working hard to make sure that it happens and you understand all the benefits of it. Sandy Dahl Ronan endured some of the toughest campaigning I have ever seen, putting the benefits on the table again and again for people in Gloucester to listen to. Gloucester isn't cheap, it's careful. And the first couple times, they just didn't have enough, and they didn't have enough if Candy had not had enough people join in with her group. She then put all the benefits again together and again and again. And I know she's a psychologist, child psychologist, family psychologist. I don't know where she got time for it because she was doing the psychology of the city of Gloucester in terms of its benefits to the community. And the community came forward and said, let's do it. This is going to help us do all the things that Proposition 2.5 did not allow us to do. That was so important to all of us. So for all the people in Gloucester that stepped up and supported this, for Sandy and to Matt Lundberg, who is the second chair, the two of them have been chair of their committees, and they've had great committees working for them, and they will talk a little bit about the benefits that this has provided to the city of Gloucester over the past 20 years? 2008, almost. So here we go. Thank you all, but most importantly, thank you to all those that voted in the referendum to make this happen, because the benefits have been incredible. And again, thank you to our friend Lindsey Coolidge as well. Thank you. Yep. Oh, yep, she's coming. Yep.
Just one more, very brief. In keeping with the celebration of the Gloucester 400th and the celebration of Gloucester's history and future, we decided to ask a local small business, Timber and Salt, headed up by Fraser Watson, a very talented local craftsman and woodworker, to create a special way of presenting this very different award. And Fraser executed this beautifully, as you'll see, by using local West Gloucester oak, the historic wood used in the masts of fishing schooners, from a tree that he didn't take down to mill, but needed to be taken down, and he reused with his artistry and ingenuity to create this beautiful award, which you'll be seeing in a little bit. So we want to just give in advance, I know you haven't seen it yet, but let's give Fraser some congratulations for the work that will now be permanently displayed.
All right, thanks so much, Mayor and Farah. So there's a slideshow going on of some of the highlights of CPA over the last few years, put together by my communications pro from my office, Pam Toby, who was the co-chair of the CPC for a couple of years anyway. So as John, Mayor Bell mentioned, Sandy Rowan was the first chair, Matt Lundberg is the current chair. So I'd like to invite them up to speak a little bit about how we got this thing going, Sandy, and Matt, where we've come since then.
I'm in love with the Community Preservation Act. I'm sort of tried to reduce some notes, but I think I'll just talk to you because. So I became aware of the Community Preservation Act when John Bell was mayor, and I was on the housing committee that he had for a few years, and there were some other people, Kathy Leahy and Karen Gallagher were also on that committee, and you know, we became aware of the existence of the Community Preservation Act, and personally, it satisfied my need to give back to Gloucester. I always sort of dreamt that if I was a wealthy person, I could think of all these things to do, but I'm not. But then the Community Preservation Act presented itself, and it just seemed brilliant that there was a way at low cost to the citizens and to the people of Gloucester and the rest of the state to be able to raise some money. There was this dedicated trust fund that the Community Preservation Coalition in Boston, I'm looking at Jack Clark, and I'll tell you in a minute why I'm looking at him. It just seemed like we had everything to learn about it, but we were highly motivated. It just felt like it was a way to go to get money that, in fact, we had already were entitled to if only we would adopt the act, because you had to adopt the act to be able to benefit from what it offered, which was, in that time, 100% match. And then also that qualified you for being able to take advantage of other grants. So we you know how it goes on committees, you start talking about what else you can do. And so I felt like I had this brilliant idea for John. My husband thought, he said, really? You know, as if John didn't have enough to do, being mayor. But I went over and said, listen, you got to do this, John. And he turned back and he said, go for it. And I thought, uh-oh, that's what happens when you know, put your opinions out there sometimes. But I was so grateful because the campaign was a wonderful thing. And we started, Kathy Leahy and Karen and I started going to some meetings sponsored by the coalition for different towns that had already passed. So we started to learn a little bit about what to do. And then we thought, well, we need to get a committee of people. And so between the three of us, we knew people who were interested in open space and recreation and housing, which were the three main, I think most of you know, the three main focuses of open space, affordable housing, historic preservation, And so we gathered a few people together, and we called ourselves the CPA Alliance. And one thing that we thought that the CPA was the current expression of what the WPA mural in City Hall depicts, which is build not for today alone, but for tomorrow as well. And this seemed like, well, here we go. So our activities, so that was for 2007. You know, 2000, when it became law, people didn't understand what this was really. So Gloucester could not, they weren't mobilized or they couldn't step up to vote it in. It's was complicated. But when I talked to John Bell, you know, that was 2006, 2007, we thought we got to get this on the ballot. And so this group of us, I look at Jack Clark, one time Kathy Leahy and I were in his backyard pounding nails and sticks and carving them out for signs that we could take around the city, and that was fun. So we got a lot of signs out. We wrote My View columns. We tried to visit as many city groups as we could and individuals. And then we decided, you know, the sidewalk bazaar was coming along. We would have a table, guest signatures, which we had to have to get it on the ballot. And I invited Stuart Saganor, who's the executive director of the CPA coalition. And that was a tense time. I don't know if you were thinking about that, John, but he was invited, he was coming, and I was at work, and I got a call from Jim Justino said, it's not a good idea to bring him. And I'm not a politician. I'm not used to campaigning or sticking my neck out, sort of, in that way. And but I said, I'm sorry, but we need to have him come. And he came. And the city council voted 9-0 to put it on the ballot. So, you know, I think, as you were talking about persistence, it's just an example. With that happening, it gave us a lot of confidence to keep going. And by the time, so we did, we became a little more known. We also appreciated how complicated it was because we kept learning about the complexity of it. You know, we thought we understood it, but we really were just learning to understand it. And then we lost by 32 votes, and we had them recount, and that was about right. But, and we were all tired, but we thought, but we have to do this. We have to take advantage of the momentum we started. And so we did, and we had a few other people join us at the committee. J.J. Bell did. He said he would, you know, lead the media approach. We asked David Harrison to come on, and he sort of gave us his political wisdom. And Maggie Rosa also was a big part of that committee because she saw with her campaign to restore City Hall that there was real possibility here with the, you know, with CPAs to getting funding, which happened. The other, you know, but we continued to learn about campaigning. We had to keep it simple. We had to repeat ourselves many, many, many times. We had to, you know, get the word out. For a year, I sent a weekly email with 3 simple things of the weekly summary of what we'd accomplished, the volunteer needs, and then requesting donations. And the email list grew. It was enormous, and we just kept saying, spread the word, spread the word. And so I think all that turned out, we had, you know, and we also took advantage of Obama was running, and it was a federal election, so you get more people involved. And we won by hundreds. I don't remember the count, but it was a lot. Then we set up the CPC, and that meant we had to write bylaws, and you know, that's a whole other big learning experience. The thing that I found exciting about that is bringing, as Bruce Carr was saying, bringing the representatives from the different groups of interest together at the table and having to figure out how to distribute the money. So there was both strict rules about it, because each of those committees had to get 10% of the money raised. But there was 70% where there was some flexibility and discretion. So that was beautiful too, and brilliant, I thought. And also just fun watching us, all these people negotiate. And it, you know, it was sort of a happy experience. I don't want to take too much time. I could talk about it a lot. I just think it's really fabulous. But I want to reiterate that I think the structure was very smart, reaching all kinds of people. You know, I did mention low cost to people. So people that voted this 1% surcharge in, if you're low income, or if you're low to moderate income elderly, you were exempt. Of course, renters are exempt. And well, who else? I don't know. It was just a manageable thing to do. But I love the word preservation, and I just want to say one thing, one more thing before I'm quiet. That we're preserving historic buildings and open space, but we also, very much a strong part of that is preserving the diversity of our population through affordable housing. And since I moved here, we've been talking about, and I moved in '78, affordable housing. And what does that mean? It means a lot of different things to people, but I think we can't preserve the diversity and richness of our partnerships and our community without taking more steps in that direction, and we can use CPA to do that. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Matt Lundberg, and I'm the current chair of the CPC in Gloucester. I just wanted to say a few things about the CPA and the CPC. When you were toiling away, Sandy, trying to get this passed here, my wife and I were living in Acton, and I was on the CPC there. And I was struck when we moved here in 2012, the similarities and the differences. And that's the beauty of the CPA, because any community can use it to reflect the needs of their community. Acton did a lot more open space preservation and not nearly as much historic preservation as we do. But both communities had a pretty big emphasis on housing. And I thought that was marvelous, and I was really excited to get involved in it when I got here. Since 2008, the citizens of Gloucester have contributed over $8 million to CPA projects. Yeah. And that's matched by over $2 million from the state. That's a lot of money, and the role of the Community Preservation Commission is to make sure that those funds are well used. The committee is made up of 9 members, 1 each from the Historic Commission. Bob Whitmarsh is our rep, and I see him here this evening. 1 from the Conservation Commission, 1 from the Planning Board, 1 from Open Space and Recreation, which is Mark Poulin currently, who's also here, and 1 from the Gloucester Housing Authority. That's augmented by 4 at-large members, 1 of which is me, and also Bill Cuff, who happens to be here this evening as well. Since 2008, we have awarded over $10 million to about 140 projects in Gloucester. And those cover the 4 categories that Sandy mentioned: historic preservation, affordable housing, open space preservation, and active recreation, outdoor recreation. We see the results of the citizens of Gloucester's generosity all around us. You've helped make affordable housing possible through grants to the John Meany 71 Middle Street project that's about 100 yards away here, the Harbor Village project on Main Street, new roofs at Willowwood Park, and Action Incorporated's rental assistance program, a fantastic program that was essential during the pandemic in keeping roofs over people's heads. You've made multiple projects at Stage 4 Park possible, including accessibility improvements, playground upgrades, cannon restorations, and the Young Legends ball hockey rink. And this is only one of the dozens of recreation projects and open space projects that we've been involved in. And you've helped preserve iconic structures all around our city, including the Schooner Adventure, Hammond Museum, Our Lady of Good Voyage Church, multiple cemetery restorations, the Babson Alling House at Cam Green, and of course, the building we're in right now. This is just a small sample of the work the citizens of Gloucester have made possible through the CPA, and all of these projects I just mentioned happened in the last 5 years. We've been at it for 15 years. We'll do a lot more great projects in the future, and the citizens of Gloucester have a lot to be proud of for this, so I applaud you and I thank you.
Oh, there's one more CPC member. Harry Hoaglander is here. So let's hear for Harry. All right, so the moment you've been waiting for, if I could call the committee up again. All right, so this is the award. Great work. Fraser, are you still here? Yes, there you go. Let's hear it. So why don't we move over? We'll just stay within the confines. Cameraman, just make sure, are we all on in the frame here? Yeah, tuck in a little bit. All right. So anyway, so Matt and Sandy, if you could come up and join us, if you come over this side, because this is still within the frame, according to 1623's advice earlier. And so I will read the plaque, and I left my glasses downstairs. Could you read the plaque?
The people of the city of Gloucester, presented to the people of the city of Gloucester, the 2023 Lindsey Coolidge Philanthropy Award for your support and continued
Use of.
I can't read it either. Continued use of the Community Preservation Act Fund.
All right. So it's a two-sided award, so there are two awards in here. So I'm going to symbolically hand it over to our two chairs. So let's hear it. And we're going to find a nice home on the wall downstairs, so the whole city has access to see this. So thank you. And that's it, folks.